In this video, I'm gonna ask if it's wrong to shoot black and white, and also is color necessary at all? Hi guys, my name is Matti Sulanto. I'm a photographer and a Lumix ambassador from Helsinki, Finland. And in this video, I'm gonna talk about black and white photography. What is so special in black and white photography? And is it wrong to shoot black and white and remove all the colors from your photographs? And is color really necessary at all? And then I also have some tips for you to how to make better black and white pictures and why I think it's a good idea to sometimes shoot black and white. And please remember that these are just my thoughts and opinions on this. I'm not trying to be some god who says this is right and this is wrong. That's not the case. This is just something that's interesting, and I think it's fun to talk about it. And the reason to make this video is that after my This Is Not Photography video, which is up here, just in case you haven't seen it, please take a look. After that video, I got some comments from people asking, isn't black and white photography also like a heavy manipulation because you remove all the colors? And the world is not black and white, of course. It's not an easy question to answer. But I think we should first ask what is so special in black and white photography. Well, first of all, black and white photography was first. The first ever pictures were black and white. And even though the theory of color photography was invented quite early, it was not until 1935 when Kodak came out with their Kodachrome slide film, and the following year, 1936, Agfa also came out with their version of color slide film. And only after that it was practical for anyone to take color pictures. But it still took a few more decades for color photography to surpass black and white photography. It was not until the 1970s when color photography surpassed black and white photography. And I remember really well when I was working as a temporary helper at a small camera store towards the end of the 1970s, it was still quite popular for people to bring in black and white films to be processed and printed. So color photography hasn't been mainstream for that long if you really think about it. But here's an interesting question for you. What if, and it's a big if, but what if color photography was invented first and the very first photos would have been in color? Would we even have black and white photography? Would we even have black and white films? And would black and white just be some, niche filter in our digital cameras today for those few people who, for whatever reason, would like to remove all the colors? Think about TV sets. If color TV would have been the first, then who would want a black and white TV anymore after that? Please leave me a comment down below. But is it wrong to shoot black and white because everything around us is in color? First of all, I think black and white is a little bit different from twisting the colors to something that were never there or not even possible. Because in black and white you remove all the colors and you're only dealing with the shapes and tonality and contrast and light. So in grayscale you're showing like a distilled reality by removing all the colors instead of creating some colors that were never there or that are not even possible in real life. And I think in many cases a black and white or grayscale image can even be easier to understand, or it can tell more of a story because there are no colors, no distracting colors present. After all, many colors have right away when you see a certain color, it has a certain meaning right away to you, even though the picture where the color appears may not even want to transmit that particular meaning or feeling. So by removing the colors, you create a picture that is more neutral, and it can deliver its message loud and clear without any distracting elements like some color. My answer is that it's definitely not wrong to shoot black and white, and it's not like you're presenting some false reality if you show black and white pictures. But it's also because black and white has a special place in photography because of the history. Okay, well enough, but is color even necessary if we can express ourselves and tell our stories in grayscale without any distracting colors? Okay, first of all, of course there are pictures, photographs that only work in color. But I also think that quite a few pictures also work in grayscale, even if you first think that, well, this photo is clearly a color photograph. But then when you remove the color, you all of a sudden realize that it still works pretty well. Sometimes the meaning of the picture or the story may change a little bit when you remove the colors, but the picture still works. So in many cases, the color is like an extra topping. It's nice, but not really necessary for the full experience or the visual experience. But of course, color photography is necessary, and I think photography wouldn't be as exciting if we didn't have colors at all. And at this point, I'd like to remind you that subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and also tap the bell somewhere there so you'll get a notification every time I post a new video. And then some tips on how to make better black and white or grayscale pictures, like I promised at the beginning. First of all, when you make or take your pictures, black and white pictures, that is, you have to think in black and white. If you shoot color and then in post you start converting your pictures to black and white, they probably don't work as well as if you shot them in black and white in the first place. I mean, if you thought about black and white when you shot them in the first place. And especially if you shoot a color picture and then in post you realize that, oh crap, these colors really don't work, and then you try to make it somehow better or more artistic by converting it to black and white, I can almost guarantee that it will never work. And the second tip is to turn on the black and white preview in your camera, because it's so much easier to pre-visualize the scene in front of you in black and white when you can actually see it in black and white when you look through your camera. On your Lumix camera, just turn on one of the monochrome photo styles and you are good to go. But remember that if you shoot raw, your picture will always be in color. But for example, Lightroom has camera matching profiles. So by selecting the right camera profile in Lightroom, you can have the same monochrome look that you had in camera when you shot the picture. In black and white photography, you are only dealing with the tonality, shapes, and contrast in the scene, but you can still use the color to your advantage, the color that was in the scene that you photographed. For example, Lightroom has the traditional blue, green, orange, yellow, and red digital filters that you can apply to your raw black and white raw file, and those digital filters simulate the traditional filters that you would put on your lens if you were shooting black and white film. But of course you can also manually darken or lighten certain colors in your picture, and that would then darken or lighten the corresponding grayscale value in your final picture. You may or you may not like black and white photography, but in any case, I think it's an excellent idea sometimes just to shoot black and white, because it makes you a better photographer. Because you don't have colors, it forces you to find other things in the scene that is in front of your camera. It makes you to look at your scene in a different way than you would if you shot in color. Besides, if you shoot raw, you're going to have the colors anyway, so it's not like you're losing something if you shoot black and white. But trust me and do it, it's a good idea. And if you found this video useful, you can always buy me a cup of coffee, there's a link down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one.